Hey everybody, this is Joric. Welcome back to my channel, Portugal and Beyond, where I like to talk about what it's like to live in Portugal and then also take you on our travels as we do them. Today's topic is international travel tips. Many of you watching this video may not have traveled for the last year and a half or longer as the world shut down with the pandemic, but as it's starting to open up again and you start thinking about places that you want to go see, the world of travel has changed maybe since you last got on a plane or a cruise ship. So I want to go through some tips that I think everyone needs to know as they're traveling internationally these days. So first things first, check with your embassy. Go to your embassy website and find out, depending on what country or cities you're going to travel to, find out what's happening, if there's any travel updates, alerts, advisories, just so you're aware of the latest going on. So checking the embassy, your embassy's website on travel information to where you're going is vital these days. Next, check with your airline, your travel, whoever you're traveling with, a cruise line, train, a rental car company. They may be sending you updates via email on what's happening, but things like time changes, gate changes, departure changes, all those have happened to us in the last year and a half of travel. They may happen to you. So as we're traveling in this new age, just make sure that you are checking to make sure that things didn't change on any of your bookings with travel companies. So very important along the way. Next, your bank. This hasn't changed, but it's something that many people forget, and every once in a while we've forgotten in the past to do. Contact your bank and credit card companies. Anything that you're going to be using while overseas, anywhere you go, let them know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there so they can note that. So if you're using your credit card or a bank card for any type of international transaction, it doesn't get declined for suspicious activity. So very important, and something that sometimes all of us can forget from time to time. Something that we can't live without these days is our phones, for better or for worse. Contact your phone carrier and add international service. Sometimes it can be $5 to $10 a day, or euros or pounds, depending on where you live. It's important because things like GPS, restaurants, accommodations, your travel information, you might have it all saved on your phone, so you're going to need it. Or buy a SIM card once you get to your new destination. You can buy them at the airport, you can buy them in most markets in different cities within different countries have the option to buy a SIM card for the particular time you're going to be there. Lastly, I would recommend downloading WhatsApp and using that, because although you still need Wi-Fi to use it, if you don't have international service, you can at least call and text people back home and stay in contact while you're abroad. One thing that hasn't really changed over time is passport. So make sure you have that and any other documentation. So if you're going back home, let's say, making sure you have your residence card, driver's license, those types of national IDs along with your passport if your country is requiring them. This is something that is new and may not be going away for any time soon, is your COVID documentation. You do need, in many countries, a vaccination certificate or recovery document to be able to enter the country, or a PCR or antigen test. It's very important that you know where you're going, what they require, what type of test, and what time frame, because some tests have to be done within 48 hours of departure, some can be done within 72 hours, some have to be PCR, some can be antigen. So knowing what you're getting into is vital traveling internationally these days. Also, something that is new and may be with us for a while is passenger locator forms, PLFs as they're known in the travel industry. Almost every country requires it. And within a day or two of leaving your country and departing for your vacation or your move, you do need to complete a passenger locator form for whatever countries you're going to be in. What will happen is you fill out the form, you get an email with a QR code, and you'll need to show that in order to board the plane or your ship or your train to get to your destination. Also important in there, if you have layovers or stopovers in different countries, you may be required to fill out a passenger locator form for each of those countries. I'll give you an example. We live in Portugal. We did a vacation to Greece with a stopover, a couple-hour layover in Madrid, Spain. When we flew from Lisbon to Madrid, we needed to have a passenger locator form for Spain, even though we were only going to be at the airport for a couple of hours. And then we also needed to have the passenger locator form for Greece. So very important that you know exactly how many of these things you need to fill out before you get on a plane, a boat, a train, etc. And then lastly, I would recommend this, and this hasn't changed, but it's something that we have done for years, is we have all of our bookings, we make copies of them. Sometimes we take photos on our phone, but if for some reason our phone goes on the blink and we don't have access, we do make physical copies of all of our booking information with our accommodations, flights, planes, trains, automobiles, as well as our passenger locator forms, our vaccine documents, whether it be the PCR, antigen, COVID recovery, you name it. We have all of that in the packet now. We didn't always have that stuff, but now we do, just because you never know who's going to ask for what and when. So it's very important. So again, those are some international travel tips as you're traveling the world these days. It is different. There's more paperwork. Let's call it more bureaucracy for the foreseeable future. But we want to make sure that you have the latest and greatest and you're up to date on what you need. So I hope this travel video helps you, and have yourself a great day and get to traveling. Let's see the world. Take care.